Is it the place to settle down? The trouble with all articles about where is the best place to live is that they talk about the country and forget about the person who's worrying about where to live. I occasionally suggest bottles of wine to people looking puzzled in the wine shop. I remember offering a friend a glass of my favourite sherry and was appalled and indeed outraged when he spat it out and asked what was wrong with it. Good grief, it cost me €30 a bottle. I'd even gone to the company's office in Jerez to buy a case. But what the heck, my guest didn't like it. End of story. Countries are rather like that. I can get to a town and immediately feel something is wrong. I can't always put my finger on the problem, but I just want to leave. In one of my earlier blogs, maybe several years back, I suggested that you appraise countries in a particular way. Probably the most important issue is that feeling I just mentioned. If you feel an innate antagonism to the place, well, nothing else really matters, does it? Just leave. That leads to the next stage. In order to find out what you really feel about whether the place is for you, is that you test drive the area for about 6 months by renting. See how you get on. Don't under any circumstances move to a place without doing that 6-month recce first. While you're doing your test, put some basic ideas into your discussions. 1. You're probably going to sell your home and buy another. That involves a serious investment commitment. You're investing in a home. You are also investing in a country. Think of that investment as you would think of investing in a company. These days that's going to give you the heebie-jeebies. I can't help you with that one. Everywhere seems to have serious problems. I do follow a certain Mr. Henderson and his Nomad Capitalist series. His mantra is simple and rather good. Go where you are treated best. The trouble is, there is more to living than just that. His ultimate preferred destination is Malaysia. Sounds great. But there are problems, and that is where we have to start. You have to start with you and what you want and what you can't cope with, and work outwards from that. For me, that part of the world won't do for 2 main reasons. First, it's a long and expensive route for my daughter to visit. Second, I don't like the level of humidity. So, you need to make a list of likes and dislikes and see what you want to end up with. So, look at the investment first. Get that wrong and you may have a problem redirecting your investment later on. I moved to the Algarve. When I moved here, the prices were reasonably cheap, but they were twice the price of similar properties in Spain. So, I looked for a place outside the tourist ghettos. That brought prices way, way down. Also, there's the problem that you can only sell to tourists if you buy in a tourist zone. First rule of any investment is, don't restrict your exit strategy. Also, do the kind of research you would do on a company. How does, in this case, Italy.com, rank with that ideal investment? Unfortunately, almost all countries in the EU rank very badly as investments. It so happens that the Algarve has turned out to be rather good for those of us who invested some time back. Currently, we're told that 27% of properties sell within a week in this part of the world. Obviously, sounds great. Except if you want to buy, of course. Absolutely not if you're thinking of moving here. Remember that other rule. Buy low, sell high. Don't even think of buying where prices are through the roof, so forget the Algarve. But what about Italy? Once upon a time, Italy was really a series of principalities. Today, in terms of investable regions, there is a very marked difference between north and south. There are other differences, but northern Italy is the go-ahead area, while once you're south of Rome, things get slower and slower the further south you go. Irrespective of that direction, there is the generalization that over the course of the past generation, Italy, as a country, has not improved its financial health one jot. Italy.plc is not the place to invest. You may well like to move there and have a happy life, but financially there are better places to go. All right, let's move on to number 2. Let's move to a totally different kind of decision. Where's your family? Can you get back to see them easily? Can they get out to visit you without taking out a second mortgage and spending days in waiting rooms? For some of us, that's important. 3, for others, like myself, the weather is important. Scandinavia just doesn't work for me. I remember my time in Sweden very well. I enjoyed living in Stockholm, but the weather was awful. I don't relish having to count the bumps in the street to work out which one is likely to hide my car under a deluge of snow. And I don't like wearing several layers of clothes. One day I ended up in a line of cars that simply stopped. We eventually discovered that we were all following the car in front and had somehow strayed from the main road and ended up going round in a circle on a frozen lake. Not for me. 4, real estate in various parts of Eastern Europe is very cheap. I've advertised 3-bed houses with an acre of land for €3,500. But can you speak the language? Can you read the Cyrillic alphabet? And do you need to get a job to survive? And what will your social life be like? I could go on, but I think you get the message. Deciding where to live is a difficult decision, and it's also very, yes, very personal. But next week I'll try and take this a stage further. For the time being, have a good week, enjoy yourself, see you next week.